Okay, from one shock to the other big shock of the state. In fact, in Chennai, the TNEB, after about 2 days of saying that tariffs will be raised, the cost of electricity in the country and in the state by and large will be raised, the power authorities seem to be neutralizing criticism with a warning to house owners not to overcharge their tenants for electricity. Overcharging is a common practice in Chennai. You would have faced this just as I, but take a look at this report before we take complaints and questions from you.
This 30-year-old resident of Chennai says he's a victim of overcharging. He says whether or not he used the electric power in his rented house, he pays more than 200 rupees every month.
வீட்டில் வாடகை தான் இருக்கிறாங்க வீட்டில் இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு டீ பிளேட்டு ஒரு ஃபேனு அதான் சீலிங் ஃபேனு ஒரு டேபிள் ஃபேனு ஒரு டிவி இப்படின்னு போட்டால் 200 கேட்குறாங்க சார் மாதம் ஆனால் கம்பல்சரி அதாவது வீட்டில் இருந்தாலும் இல்லாட்டாலும் கம்பல்சரி 200 கொடுத்துடணும். அது இல்லாமல் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ நடுவில் வாஷிங் மிஷினோ ஃப்ரிட்ஜோ கிரைண்டரை ஓட்டினா அதுக்கு தனியாக 100 கொடுத்துருங்கன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. அதேமாதிரி சரி ஓகே கொடுத்துட்றேன் சார். எங்கள் வீட்லேயும் அப்படி தான், பக்கத்தில் எல்லா வீட்லையும் எங்கள் வாடகை பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்களாம் எல்லோரும் அப்படி தான் கொடுக்குறாங்க.
House owners overcharging for electricity is a common thing in Chennai, and authorities have never objected to this so far, while tenants accept the terms reluctantly and never report the violation. In a stern warning to house owners, the Tamil Nadu Electricity Regulatory Commission has said charging more than rupees 4.05 paise per unit of power is illegal. It said violators will be fined up to 1 lakh rupees and face imprisonment up to 3 months under the Electricity Act. The Commission has also urged residents to register their complaints with the electricity authorities. In Chennai, with Shabir Ahmed, J. Santosh for Ndtv-Hindu.
All right, there was huge protest today on the streets, not just the CPM, which conventionally is against any hike in price of whether it is general commodities or electricity per se. But of course, the principal opposition, the AIADMK, was out on the streets. Quite obvious that this issue had come in handy, and they thought that they could make an issue out of the fact that tariff was increased by almost 1 rupee for every increase in 300 units of usage per month for anybody living in Chennai. But to get questions from you viewers, just as I have plenty of doubts to ask, we have with us the right person who can answer these questions. Mr. S. Baladandayudam, he's the Director of Tariff, the Tamil Nadu Electricity Regulatory Commission. Sir, thanks very much. You join us live in our studios this evening. Firstly, appreciate very much that you've joined us. All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, sir. My first question to you, the fact that you have, after about 3 days to be precise, after increasing the tariff and making that announcement, the Chief Minister, of course, defended it, saying that this was done after 7 long years and that this was very, very important and something inevitable. Is this some sort of a damage control that you announce now, this new warning to landlords that they should be careful and not really overcharge the tenant?
No, the simplest way is in each housing complex, they can take a service connection for each housing unit, and they have to pay 1,600 rupees to TNEB, of which around 900 is refundable and 600 and odd is not refundable. As early as June 2003, the Commission has said this expense of 650 rupees they need not pay and take a service connection for each housing hold. So if the house owners take service for each unit, then this problem will not arise.
All right, sir. But this, would you agree that this is some sort of a repair that you're trying to do to justify the fact that this sort of tariff hike has come to criticism, has drawn a lot of flack from the common man? Now to say that landlords, action against landlords will be taken, is it seen some sort of a repair, or is this something that you've always wanted to pronounce, and most clearly so considering the number of complaints that tenants have been making to you?
No, this we always wanted to inform to the general public.
Okay.
We have done it in in 2003 when we made the tariff. We announced it, and as I said earlier, we have given the orders that they need not pay 650 rupees and get a service connection for each household. So we have been doing it for quite a long time. We are aware of it. This is not a damage control. And now those housing units who consume more than 600 units bi-monthly, the maximum charge is 4 rupees and 5 paise. So they are not eligible, they don't have the right to charge more than this amount to the tenants. If anybody charge, then they can file a complaint to the concerned electricity board authorities and commission will dispose the petition.
To who will they have to file this complaint? Can they meet with any one particular official? I'm just being told by my colleagues that we have a caller by name Varadarajan from Thoraipakam. But before we go to that particular viewer, to you, sir, Mr. Bala, you were saying that they can complain to the Electricity Regulatory Board. To who exactly? Is there a helpline or something of that sort that you can mention to us, which we can tell our viewers?
No, as of now, they have to make a complaint to the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board local area officials.
Okay.
TNEB have advised TNEB to designate the officers.
Okay.
Once the officers are designated, they can file the complaint. And in turn, the TNEB will file a petition with the commission and our commission will dispose the petition. The fine, etc., we have already given in the press note. That is a maximum of 1 lakh rupees.
Okay, a maximum of 1 lakh rupees will be the fine. You're saying, yes, sir. You're saying the fine will be a maximum of 1 lakh rupees if proven guilty. We have with us Mr. Varadarajan calling us from Thoraipakam. Am I right, Mr. Varadarajan? Go ahead with your question for the Director of Tariff.
Hello, very good evening, Radhika. I want to actually ask one thing. My landlord has been charging me, this thing even for using an iron, he's been charging me. So I want to know, if I do register a complaint, how long will it take to act? Will it be prioritized by the police?
All right.
The complaints are of two types. One is that you can file a complaint with the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board officials. They in turn will file with us the petition and we will dispose it. Another way is criminal proceedings. The Tamil Nadu Electricity Board may file a complaint with the appropriate judicial authorities. Then the imprisonment of 3 months, maximum of 3 months will arise. So each case they have to decide case by case as to where they have to file the petition complaint.
All right, thanks very much for acknowledging that question. I hope that is answered. But this is one common complaint, Mr. Bala, of many tenants, of course, who claim that landlords have been fleecing them, considering usually the issue is that there is only 1 meter for 2 portions, including the one which the landlord is living in, and the bill is a common name, and the landlord usually figures a general amount to the tenant. In such cases, when you get a complaint from the tenant, how exactly will you go about trying to analyze whether the landlord is indeed literally fleecing the tenant?
Normally what happens is landlord have one composite meter with TNEB. That meter is read and it is billed. He will have some submeters in respect of each units, and according to this submeter they will charge. As you said, in some cases they charge some flat rate. In that case they have to file a complaint and the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board will go into the veracity, the truth of the complaint, and they have to file the petition with our commission or with the police.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for that particular question. We have Ms. Hema who's calling us from Alwarpet. Madam, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, I just want to know, how will the TNEB people come to know if the landlord is overcharging the tenant, if the tenant does not complain?
Yes, that's precisely a question that I'd asked a while ago. Mr. Bala, adding to that particular question, if I may ask you, wasn't it a rule by your department a while ago that there should be separate meters, and is that followed indeed on the ground?
Yeah. In number of cases there are separate meters. In a number of cases there are separate submeters. Based on that they are charging. As you said, in some cases there may be flat rate charges.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for answering that one question as well. But the bigger question, of course, the fact that you have said that in the last 2 days, the recent shock that the common man of Chennai has got, about 300 units and more usage per month, will mean per unit they will have to shell out 1 rupee more. Now, sir, 300 rupees on an average is something that about 40 to 60% of Chennaites use, according to a research that's done by us. About between 40 and 60% of people in Chennai, I repeat, use about 300 and little more than 300 units of power every month. Now, this essentially means that the middle class man will suffer because of this particular announcement that you've made, that 1 rupee will be charged extra per unit after with effect from 1st of August. Would you be able to give a justification to that, sir? How much do you buy per unit and how much are you charging per unit from a common man in Chennai?
Actually, there are about 2 crore 32 lakhs of consumers in Tamil Nadu. Of that, domestic is 1 crore and 58 lakhs. From this 1 crore 58 lakhs of consumer under domestic category, nearly about 13 to 15 lakhs consumers come under 300 units per month or more. Therefore, it is around some 4 to 5%, and charging them 1 rupee extra, that too after a period of 7 years, leaving all the other consumers, I don't think it's much to bear with.
All right, sir. I'm not too convinced myself. I don't know if the viewer will be convinced, but before I let you go, we'll take one more caller, just one more caller. This is Arjun calling from Thiruvanmiyur area in Chennai. Yes, Arjun, go ahead, please.
Right, ma'am, I'm living in Thiruvanmiyur and I'm a bachelor and I stay in this PG. But from what I can understand, my landlord is charging me, I believe, 8 rupees per unit, which I think is the commercial rate, whereas the residential charge is only 4 rupees per unit. So, am I in a legally strong position to maybe drag my landlord to the consumer forum?
Well, that's actually shocking. Is there an explanation that your landlord has given to you, Mr. Arjun, on why he's charging you the commercial rate and not the domestic rate?
Well, the only explanation that he gave was that he hasn't taken a fixed deposit for the maintenance of the electrical equipment that he has made available. So that is the only explanation that I have.
Okay, Mr. Bala, if I may ask you to pitch in here, if you may please answer this question. A tenant who's been charged the commercial rates instead of domestic rates, how will you be able to identify such landlords and actually bring them to task?
Yeah, even the commercial rate, previously it was the maximum was 5 rupees 80 paise per unit. Now it is increased to 6 rupees and 50 paise as of now. So charging 8 rupees prior to the tariff revision is an offence. So any tenants who is affected can file. Again I tell the same thing, they can file a petition with TNAB, and in cases of this much charging, definitely TNAB will file a petition, we will take action on that.
All right, thanks very much, Mr. Bala. But one more question, please, if you don't mind. This is Junaid calling us from Thuraipakkam again. Yes, Junaid, please go ahead.
We are constantly getting low voltage.
Okay.
Okay, there are a lot of fluctuations. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. You suffer voltage problems, which of course is a problem even in Adayar where I live. Mr. Bala, this seems to be a little bit of a common question that a lot of people have been asking, particularly in areas like Kottuppuram, Thiruvanmiyur and even Adayar. People have been writing to us. I live in Adayar, for instance, and there are voltage drops quite often there. Is there something particular to these areas, or what sort of an explanation to that?
Yeah, the voltage problem is in areas where there are consumers using more of the load by the consumers has been phenomenally increasing. So TNAB has to, once a transformer is put into service and the load is increasing, naturally that transformer is to be identified and operated or modified. So that process is taking place across the city and across the state also. So as you are aware, how the consumer is putting more load and TNAB has to keep pace with that is taking place, and wherever there, and we conduct consumer grievance meeting by the superintending engineer, divisional engineer, they can bring it to them and definitely will solve the problem.
Right, sir. Thanks very much. Yes, Junaid, Radhika this side, you have another question apparently. I'm sorry, this is Rajapandi, another viewer. Mr. Rajapandi, please go ahead with your question. I'm afraid we won't be able to take more callers, but Rajapandi first.
Okay, I'm telling, I'm the house owner. I'm having sub-speaker.
Sorry, you're the house owner. You will have to reduce your television volume, please, before you talk to us.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I am the house owner.
Okay.
I am having the separate meter for both tenants.
Yes.
Okay.
If excess meter comes, house we are sharing all the two.
Okay.
No, it's not. Can you please come again? It's not.
What is your question, Mr. Rajapandian? You're saying you have two separate meters for your tenant.
How much I should charge the tenant?
But you have a separate meter, you said, so I don't see why there should be confusion charging your tenant. All right, I'm afraid we'll have to cut that caller because the television volume is too high and perhaps not so much clarity on what he's asking. But from what he actually said, he has two separate meters. So that seems to be some sort of an explanation coming from the community of house owners and landlords. But thanks very much, Mr. Bala. I appreciate very much that you came here. It shows some sense of accountability from the department, some solace indeed from that shock that you gave us 3 days ago from the department. But thanks very much for taking those callers live. Some hope, of course, for people in Chennai that your complaints will be taken first hand. If you not just had complaints of your tenant fleecing you, but also the general shock that you get when you get your electricity bill. Thanks very much, Mr. Bala. Moving on, we'll take a little break, but stay with Ndtv-Hindu because there is an expose which shows allegedly a bunch of lies from SIPCOT. And we track the successful journey of the Dappangutta from the streets of Madras to Kollywood. Stay with us.